They say lightning doesn't strike twice.
That's how I spent Christmas last year.
They were wrong.
McLean, is this what you were expecting?
Nah, this is just the beginning.
Bruce Willis, Die Hard 2. Die Harder.
A few years ago, we discussed whether Die Hard was a Christmas film. I believe it is. I had the same conversation with my daughter whether Die Hard 2 was a Christmas film. Gonna find out.
It's like asking if it's from Stay Another Day's a Christmas song just because it's got church bells in it.
Oh God, that's an
Yeah.
intro.
Let's
We
be
got.
honest, right?
Oh my God, we got 5 of us on the podcast for the first time in ages. So expect tambourines, drums, Chris rappers, drinks, all these noises that you've missed on previous podcasts. I can guarantee you'll
Faxes.
get them. Yeah, faxes, bells, car engines, everything. So it will be like a fucking brass band is behind everyone. But yeah, we got Jay back. We got Rav. We got 80s Paul. Of course, we got Neil. It's just brilliant. The whole gang is here. It's fantastic to talk about Die Hard 2 in 1990, 2 years after the original. A podcast that we've already done, already spoken about, and available on our queue of other podcasts. So this film, Rennie Harlin, I only know him for Deep Blue Sea, which is all right, good at the time. It's properly dated now. But I didn't know this film, and you guys probably did, because you're very well educated, that this came from a book called 58 Minutes. Did you know that?
Yeah,
I didn't.
No.
No.
There you go. Yeah, it's a book called 58 Minutes, which spawned the idea of Die Hard 2. And it's set at JFK Airport, and it features Frank, I think it's Frank Marlin, who's a New York City detective whose daughter's due to fly down, and a mysterious terrorist who calls himself Number One gives him 58 minutes. Otherwise, he's going to bring down the plane, which carrying his daughter, and he tries to, or he stops at the terror. And that's where the book was spawned from. Well, the idea that film was spawned from the book 58 Minutes. And a lot of the kind of French posters and other kind of European posters, when they were selling this film, they've actually got 58 minutes on the poster, and that's where it came from when people look at it. So a little factoid for you there.
Talking of posters, very quickly,
Go for it.
did you know about the original Die Hard and the fact that everyone kicked off so much about Bruce Willis being the main role that they had to take his face off of the posters?
No, I knew they
No.
wouldn't. I didn't know about the poster. I knew that he wasn't their first choice, Neil, but I didn't know about the poster.
Yeah, no, he wasn't first choice. He was the only one that could end up doing it. So hence why his agent made him the highest paid actor or something in that at that time for a film, because they were sort of stuck between a rock and a hard place. But apparently there was such uproar, a bit like Michael Keaton with Batman.
Oh, wow.
That they had to take his face off of the posters, promotional posters, and it was just a picture of the Nakatomi Plaza. And it wasn't until people started watching it and realising how good it was, his face reappeared. So
Look at that. Look at that. That's just brilliant. And Frank Sinatra is offered first choice of the role. He was contractually obliged. And if he would have said yes, they would have had to make Die Hard with Frank Sinatra as Bruce Willis. Imagine
really
that.
old man.
It would have been crazy. He would have been in a firefight and had to stop for a piss or something like that. It would have been friggin' awesome, honestly. It would have been so good. It would have been a great advert for, like, sponsored by Saga. It would have been amazing. But I think, personally, I think this film is dated. And I like this film. Don't get me wrong. But it'd be so interesting to see, especially we've got 5 amazing points of view from 5 very attractive men, that of where we're going to come from. I think what's ruined this is 2 years after the first one, which was so good. I mean, Die Hard, it just puts hair on your balls. It's such a testosterone film. I love it so much. But this film, Rennie Harlan was like, if I do a carbon copy of this film but set it in the air, then it's going to be amazing. And for me, that's where it kind of trips up. I don't know what you guys think.
I think he could have saved himself a ton of money, Stu. really, because all they had to do really, if that was in the UK, they would have diverted probably to Manchester and laid on a couple of shuttle buses.
That's such an adrenaline-filled film. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, they would, wouldn't they?
I know.
Why are they still trying to get to the airport with no landing lights, no runway? Just go to Manchester or John Lennon Airport in Liverpool. Get some coaches on board.
Thankfully, it wasn't set in the UK.
That was
Yeah.
so
So we were
shit.
able to get past it. Yeah.
God, that would have been so dull. But it's funny because anyone who hasn't seen this film, the storyline is pretty, as you say, pretty much like the first one, but set in the air. That you've got General Esperanza, who's going to land, and they come up with this elaborate plan to rescue Esperanza, who's like kind of Pablo Escobar, and they plan to bring down planes unless they don't abide by the terrorist rules. And it turns out that Holly McClane is on the plane. And the weird thing is such an elaborate plan that heavily relies on the fact that it's got to snow. If it doesn't snow, they simply don't have a plan, do they?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. They are very weather dependent terrorists.
It's such a shit idea. I mean, why didn't they land when Esperanza? I mean, obviously we're skipping ahead, but when he the plot of it is, I'm going to hijack the plane, and then I'm going to fly to an airfield fucking miles away where you pick me up. How about that? Or should we keep it going for hours and hours, putting all these other planes at risk? I mean, it's such a crazy, elaborate plan, isn't it?
Yeah, but I guess that's what makes it exciting, doesn't it? It's but yeah, it is massively elaborate, like you say, and it's very reliant on the weather and everything going to plan.
Definitely.
He had no hand luggage either, did he? But you see them all towards the end smoking a bunch of Cubans. Where do they come from?
He had no hand luggage. I love that.
Is that going to bring your score down at the end, Paul?
Okay.
Will that bring your score down?
You'll have to see.
He didn't declare any of his luggage.
To be fair, this is an aviation film, so I expect Paul's got quite a lot to say about it.
One or two points.
There was, the minute I saw the two helicopters, I thought something's going to be wrong here. Interestingly, obviously we mentioned Colonel Esperanza. He is from the same nation as the film in Commando, isn't he? You know Commando, the Arnie film? Is it Valverde? Yeah, he's from the same place that Arnie goes to in Commando.
Oh, really?
There you go.
Yeah, I think in Die Hard 2. I think if you Google it, pretty sure.
See, we've missed facts like that. We've missed you, you know.
Massively.
Mate, it's facts like that why it took me 21 years to lose my virginity. There we go.
Well, I didn't meet you soon enough, James, because that would have got me straight away.
You'd have had me. You'd have had me at Commando.
Definitely.
God, dearie me. I mean, I know already when we're going to, as I say, we're kind of skipping ahead a bit again, but I know your favourite bit already, James, is when you've got, what's his name in this? There's so many. William Sadler, Colonel Stewart. I mean, talk me through the bit when he's doing the naked kind of, you do yoga, and I don't think this guy's doing yoga, but talk us through it, James. I mean, you've done this before. You're an expert.
Well, unfortunately, I wanted a bit more down dog in that scene, if I was really honest. But I didn't really get it, did I?
Did you notice? His John was swinging in the middle at some point?
Yeah.
Just the tip of his John.
You do see pee-pee. Yeah.
It's weird, isn't it? Apparently, he got in shape. They filmed that, I think, at the end of the filming after he got in shape. I think I could be wrong.
Yeah.
From what I remember reading.
That would make sense.
Yeah, I mean, he's almost that almost felt like a very James Bond scene, isn't it? To show us how hard this villain is, kind of thing.
What James Bonds have you been watching?
Well,
Yeah.
yeah. No, but I mean, like James Bond, like the way it focused on him, even briefly. Those weird, moody bits you sometimes see. I don't know. The whole thing felt like a Roger Moore James Bond film as well, with a little snow chase. as well.
Yeah. This is how
Yeah.
I imagined that you watched films before the podcast, James.
Well, naked, doing my
Naked,
yoga.
doing moves, and then turning the
Okay.
telly off like he does, like he's shooting it at the end.
Well, this is true. Unfortunately, my large gunt belly gets in the way of a lot of the time if I'm going to swing anything around. But
That was a bit of foreshadow to the fight on the wing at the end, wasn't it? About how agile he was.
Yes.
What with his nuts hanging down?
Yeah. Don't get him caught in the ailerons.
He teabags him to death. Yeah.
I mean, it starts just like, I mean, you've got so many characters that mirror different characters in this, which would be quite good fun to talk about. He gets to Dallas Airport, International Airport, where he's waiting for Holly, and from the last one, or Die Hard, their relationship kind of progressed as more people died and the terrorists killed, and they kind of bonded, and at the end they're still together. And he's moved from New York to Los Angeles now, where Sergeant Al Powell, who's still stereotyped eating Twinkies in the police station. So I did like that fact that he's still massively overweight. But he's waiting for Holly to land. And I thought it was really strange. This film, it dates so much the fact that A, you can smoke in the airport. B, you can walk up to the tower whenever you want in a massive international airport. And the fact that you can have a stun gun on an aeroplane. It really dates this film, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Of course it does. Yeah, it was a long time ago now, 1990, wasn't it? And it was a lot easier to go around an airport and do what the fuck you wanted, apparently.
I think you could.
Yeah, but
I mean,
the sad thing is that film is now as far away from obviously September the 11th as we are now, pretty much. That's scary. Isn't it?
That's true.
that is very poignant. Very, very poignant. And whilst Willis is at the airport, he bumps into, and they do kind of foreshadow so much when you've got various news reports saying that General Esperanza's coming into the airport and he's going to be faced by the government. He's been expedited from his own country. And then suddenly you see all these different, you don't see Major Grant, but it's just Colonel Stewart. And you don't see another character who I like and want to talk about, Richard Thornberg, who is on the same plane as Holly McClane. Do you think Thornberg needed to be in this on the aeroplane along with Holly McClane?
I think it added some movement into the story, because otherwise, how would the general populace know as to what was going on? So they had to do something, and I think he was probably the easiest option to do it, wasn't he?
Do you know, when I hear your voice, I'll agree with whatever you say.
You're very kind.
He's true. He's right though, isn't he? Because ultimately the story is about the fact that some dickhead reporter starts reporting everything in the air, and why not put Thornberg in, who everyone hates and has got history with Holly McClane? So it sort of added a bit of a comedy element to it as well, didn't it?
Yeah, it's interesting they try and play him as the baddie, because obviously the planes are held up, and they're kind of, every single plane is being used kind of to ransom against Colonel Stewart's want to get Esperanza down on the floor, so they can fuck off to another country. And it's interesting that Thornberg is always like the pantomime baddie all the time, and even when he's reporting, the airport are trying to cover up whatever's happening, and he's trying to report it, and really he's only doing his job. I know it's sneaky, and he is causing panic, which is the only probably downside of what he's doing, but at the end of the day he is only doing his job. And you've got another like Sam Coleman, who's in the airport, who's not having much success, and he's having loads, and as I say, he's just doing what he's paid to do, isn't he, and what he enjoys doing. So he's not really doing anything wrong, in my opinion. I don't know what you guys think.
Yeah, but he's a slimy arsehole, isn't he? William Atherton plays that character really well, doesn't he? Because he does it in Ghostbusters as well.
Oh yeah, he's brilliant.
So let's be fair, not a lot of people like the press, do they? And he's
not really, but is he doing something wrong though?
No, I don't. Well, he's causing widespread panic. But no, he's doing what he's supposed to do as a reporter. The problem is you don't like him because of his arrogance and how slimy and stuff he is. But no, to answer your question, in my opinion, he's not doing anything that isn't in his job description. Whether you agree with his job description or not.
I don't know. I mean, James is a man of morals. What do you think, James?
No, mate, I just told you about my Pornhub collection. I don't think I've got many morals, but no. Anyone listen? No, yeah, but he is just doing his job. But as I said, he's slimy. He's doing his job, but by doing his job, he must know that he's going to create mass panic by doing that job. And he obviously, he's not a stupid person, so he knows that. And obviously he doesn't care. So he's doing his job for him, no one else. Because he wants the recognition, doesn't he?
Exactly. I think that goes in hand with the way 90s reporters used to do things, whereby if they get a big scoop, they're guaranteed a place in the studio as being the anchor for 9 o'clock news or 5 o'clock news.
Yeah,
and that's
absolutely.
The highlight they want to be. Any reporter wants to be is front and center. I represent this channel, for the news.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. It's
Definitely,
really interesting the side of the fence that he's on, because he is a dick. Don't get me wrong, and he's a whiny bitch when he's on the aeroplane moaning that he wants to be in first class, that he should be there, but probably he believes on status of who he is, and when he's told he can't be, everyone clearly hates him. But back at the airport, you've got all of these mercenaries are waiting for General Esperanza to land. And you've got the press there as well. You've got Colonel Stewart walking around. And you kind of get the feeling that something's going to happen. And I like the fact that, kind of, again, Bruce Willis is like a fish out of water. That he's at the airport and he can see everyone. He's just people watching. And I really like that part where he just sees those soldiers there and something's just not right. And when he walks up to one of the police officers, it's the police officer at the start who gave him the ticket, who's a complete wanker. And he's all right. For me, he's too much of a trope that we've seen in so many other films that I kind of think it's just outdated. And I can't remember at the time how I felt about this guy, but watching it now, I just don't want him in it. It just dates the film. His wise ass remarks. So there's too many of them in this film. I just don't like him.
Tropey. Is it because you've seen it a ton of times, like me? And because I keep thinking to myself, when I see characters like that, I think, what have I seen him in before? It must have been a ton of films. Is it many, or is it just someone thinking about the same film?
I don't know, mate. With my age, I just get confused about most things.
What?
To be honest, I really, really do. But it's just kind of too tropey. But I do like the fact that when he does follow the soldiers into the massive luggage rack. And again, it's quite interesting that he could just walk up in an airport and want this door open, and he just waves his badge and he says, well, who wants it open? I do. And he gets his badge out and the geezer just unlocks it. And it's just so convenient. That would never, ever happen at an airport, would it? You'd never get anyone doing that for you.
I think that depends, though. Again, going back to the whole 90s, you could, I'm sure the officers over there wave a badge and there you go, back entrance, there you go, come in. Whereby us in the UK, it's a bit more, Ian.
It's interesting you said back entrance, Ram.
Neil knows about what? No, it's PhD, Neil. No, it's like within the UK.
You gave your sheriff's badge for the back entrance.
But in the UK, you can't really get away with that, whereby we're a bit more stringent into policies and procedures and health and safety, whereby in the US, you don't really have that, do you? Well, back then.
Bruce Willis doesn't, because he's too fucking hard, to be honest. He laughs at paperwork. I bet he's never taken a statement in his life, honestly. But I really like the shootout when they go into the luggage place, when all of the cases are there. And this is when it starts to feel more like a Die Hard film for me, when you've got the action, which is really full on. You've got Willis rolling around, getting dirty, and he seems to get dirty and cut so easy. And the guns are just fucking so loud. And I really, really enjoy the shootout with all of the luggage. I don't know what you guys think, whether you think it's over the top or it's necessary. It'd be interesting to hear, but I love this scene.
It's never necessary, but I thought it was great. Love that bit.
All I could think of... Sorry, James, go on.
Oh, no, sorry, Nick. I think from a choreograph, like the shot by shot, and the direction there. I think it's one of the best set pieces in the film, because it's building up. It's only between three people, but you've got this really good set of all this luggage thing, which, you know, I've never seen before when I was a kid, and that's always one of my favourite moments in Die Hard 2. Is that whole sequence? I think is really done perfectly. If you took a snapshot of that, that'd be like a 5 out of 5. Just that pure scene alone, the way it's done, is brilliant. I think the other action bits are good as well, but I think this was quite unique because of the way it does with the luggage. All the other ones could be almost from other action films, albeit they're still good, but they're like copying. You've seen it all before. If that makes sense, you know.
No, I completely agree. What did you think, Rev?
I think it's very well done. It needed a bit of a action scene injection into it, and I think they did a really good job by having that at the right moment.
Yeah,
But
completely.
like you said, it was really loud.
It's really strange though that when you think these are soldiers and he's fighting against two soldiers, and when he's spraying like hairspray in one of them, instead of shooting Bruce Willis, he shoots the can of hairspray, which is a really strange decision, isn't it?
Yeah. I just felt sorry for all the people whose luggage was being shot.
Yeah,
they're going to get wherever they are and go, why the fuck is my luggage full of bullets?
All those poor extras.
And it's weird because he kills one of the baddies in this roller, which appears to crush suitcases if they're too big. Surely at an airport they don't have things like that of a metal crusher that's capable of crushing someone's head. That if you're on holiday and you've got someone who's got a massive Samsonite case, that it's just going to try and crush it or break it. I don't know where they got that from.
Space saving, maybe. Who knows?
I can't imagine. So it's like, oh, that guy's an idiot, right? Let's put it through the crusher. It'll piss him off when he gets to the other end.
Yeah, it was absolute nonsense. I must admit, I don't fly enough to actually know about these kind of things, but
please comment and let us know.
Exactly. Have you ever killed anyone in a crusher at an airport by accident? If you have, it'll be a secret. We won't tell anyone, but it'll just be interesting for the pod. So
yeah, definitely.
But all of the baddies are kind of set up at this church. Conveniently, there's a church really close to the airport where they can set up their own control tower and they can manipulate all of the planes. They can cut off all of the power from the main control tower, so they can crash any plane, land any plane, turn the lights on, turn lights off. It's really, really convenient. And you've got the guy in the control tower at Dallas Tower, Fred Thompson, and he appears to be in charge of the police, the control tower, and the whole airport, because he ends up telling, and you've got kind of the tropey cop again, who's Carmine Lorenzo, played by Dennis Franz. He's the police chief at the airport, but even he appears to answer to the control tower manager, which surely that would never happen. They are just separate jobs. It's really strange that he takes advice from him.
I don't know. Honestly, don't know how it's set up. I guess if you're in control of the tower and you need to do things their way. I don't know, but you're right. It's quite a strange setup.
Private police force, maybe.
It's really strange, isn't it, that he's kind of takes advice as to you send, because basically he's against Bruce Willis. He's a tropey cop, and I wasn't too sure if I liked him or not, because he is a trope, but it's the first time we've had in a Die Hard film someone who's actually, and he does go down the line, he does do things, and he does come across as a complete arse kisser, but he's eventually helping Bruce Willis, which he's never really had. But I think the one-liners between them when they first meet, when it's like a dick measuring competition about who's in charge, that the lines really date this film, and they really just, you don't get films with these lines anymore, do you, when they're putting each other down about the lead in your ass and the shit in your brains, it's just absolute bollocks, isn't it?
I loved it.
It's old school action film though, isn't it? And he is, like he says, you're in my pond and all this sort of shit. It's a proper trope, isn't it? But You gotta love it. You gotta love it.
I'll be reading that off for days now.
I can't wait till you get the fucking sack then.
Is it the lead in your ass or shit in your brains?
Nice. What did you think, Jay?
I thought, yeah, I didn't think anything of it really. I just thought it was a bit cheesy. That's it. I didn't really think they were dated. I did not get the lead in your ass, shit in your brains, because I'm pretty sure poo doesn't set off on metal sensors. That's
That was
what I
my
thought.
next question.
Was
I didn't get that. If that was me and someone shouted that out at me, I'd just turn around and go, shit doesn't set it off.
I know, that's
And
what I'd say.
Yeah. Argument one, surely.
Yeah. Then he's to hopefully there's a deleted scene with that. And then, it pisses all over his strawberries, doesn't it?
Yeah, that would be
I wonder if they
brilliant, wouldn't it?
like improv'd different put downs, and that was the best ones that they come out with.
Yeah,
it'd be really, really interesting. That would be really funny because I should imagine there's some really shit like put downs that they came up with, and mind you, if that's the best one. And another thing, Scruple's question: when Bruce Willis is at the airport, he befriends this attractive kind of, she's not a stewardess, but she's like someone on a help desk for one of the airlines, and he takes fingerprints from one of the bad guys, which we later discover with the help of Sergeant Al Powell, that the guy's had a fake ID and he died years ago in another country. So he kind of gives Willis the heads up that basically everyone here, there's something wrong with them, and all of these people tropically aren't, if tropically is a word, tropically aren't paying any attention to him. But she chats him up and says, I finish at so-and-so o'clock, and do you fancy meeting up? Was he right turning her down?
That's just the ultimate question.
What?
Well, James has got morals, so you answer first, James.
Yeah, I thought it was quite classy the way he showed his little marriage ring, which I thought was nice. But no, sorry. But yeah,
Marriage ring.
Obviously, he was,
Yeah, he didn't show any other rings.
Yeah.
No more rings involved in that one, really, is there?
just the marriage ring.
Just the marriage ring. Just the marriage wedding ring. Whatever you call it.
Fantastic. Paul, 80s Paul, what about you, my friend?
Of course he was right to show him the ring. Show her the ring.
Yeah, that was getting worse.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course he was right. He couldn't have a date. He was waiting for his wife to come off the plane. You know what I mean?
I'm a bit worried about what Rav's going to say, who shows someone the badge to get in their back door, but Rav...
it only took like less than 30 minutes to go into complete debauchery. No, I kind of agree with James. He did the right thing.
Look at that. Just in case all of your misses at some point are going to listen to this. Unbelievable.
What were you going to say? Yeah, I'm going to fuck her. And then he's not going to say that, is he? He's not going to be like, my missus coming. How about you get off now, I'll bend you over and do you good. Die hard,
Well, he could say,
die harder. No,
he could say, my missus is coming in a minute. Would you like to come first?
Oh. I mean, where I was going with this is, should they have gone for a coffee and just had a chat about it? But James has taken it to a massive level, and it's unbelievable.
What was the alternative there? Having said it would have been funny if in Die Hard with a Vengeance he's with that girl. That'd be hilarious, wouldn't it?
I think it'd be great if he's playing child maintenance because he got her up the duff just for a
yeah.
You never know. That might be the reason why later on in Die Hard they've split up.
Yeah, you never know.
Could be. Well,
and OP Neil, where do you stand, OP?
Well, I think I've just said my one, haven't I? To be fair, it's we'll leave it at that.
Excellent stuff. I would have probably taken her for a Costa coffee and spoke to her about it as a gentleman and left
about
it
the coffee.
That. Just to find out more about her job. Does she enjoy her job? And that I would like to meet her with her. She's attractive, but I'm in a relationship. So
and see how she feels about that.
Yeah. You take it for a cup of coffee. You talk about the job, and then you're like, "Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your latte," and then walk away.
Yeah.
Is that the plan? All right. Okay. That's really
and I would have probably Yeah,
Fair
and
enough.
just exchange phone numbers as well, probably, just in case for a backup. So,
In case of fire, break glass kind of thing.
yeah, because
Emergency.
everyone needs a backup, don't they? You know what I mean?
Right, okay.
But yeah, I'm pretty safe for that, so it's all good. We soon find out that the hostages are in danger because you've got Colonel Stewart, who then ends up turning the lights out of all of the runways, and then he announces to everyone that if they don't obey what he says, he is going to take down one plane. And it was interesting because at this time nothing really had been done like this, and the fact that he does kind of what Colonel Stewart sees as take a piss and just kind of breach his ideas. And it's really interesting. You've got Windsor Airlines where they show people speaking lovely English, the Queen's English, and all the stewards like, we get there just like British Airways. And then he changes where the ground is, the level of the ground, and crashes that plane into the ground. And you see dolls showing that children have died in this. That I don't think they'd ever get away with this now. And it's amazing that they even got away with it back then. I don't know what you guys think. It's mental.
It's hard hitting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's madness. Absolute madness.
Because when you watch it, I think, back in the 90s when this came out, you just thought, oh, wow, amazing action and all this. But I think as you get older, you sort of realise that, Jesus, that is horrendous. Could you actually ever imagine that happening, sort of thing? To being there and seeing that, it must be awful. So, yeah, I don't think they could do that anymore, especially, obviously, after the events that have happened, like James said earlier. So,
yeah, well, there was a lot of wise things James has said, so I'm having to write them down as he says them because there's quite a lot of things.
you could write a book on what James says, to be fair, couldn't you?
You can do. You say something wise, James. I know I'm putting you on the spot, but go for it.
Mate, I've got nothing.
Again,
that's a good title.
Again.
That's a title for the book.
That's the title.
Do you know we missed you, James? Last week we did Highlander. Okay.
No, I was a bit upset. I really like Highlander. I want it now.
At the start of Highlander, can you answer a question? It's available on YouTube and on everything else. The two wrestlers at the start, are they proper wrestlers or not?
I don't know now. Well, that's it. You know what's due.
No, we spoke about this as a genuine topic on the podcast.
Go on.
Yeah, they are.
On, James.
It's Ric Flair, isn't it? One of them, I think.
I've looked this up. I've looked it up.
Oh, have you?
Yeah, because I was annoyed about the fact that we couldn't tell if they were or not, so I looked it up. So they are four of them, all four professional wrestlers.
Yeah, they are. Because I'm sure that I think they're watching NWA which was WCW later on, the National Wrestling Alliance, depending how far in the 80s it was for World Championship Wrestling. I think I'm having a guess. But yeah.
Can you remember the name of Sam Fatu?
Fatu. Yeah, because he ended up being in WWE.
There you go. And Terry Bam Bam Gordy.
Yes.
And the other one was Buddy Roberts and Michael Seitz, the four wrestlers. So I was going to point that out today anyway. So thank you, Stu, for bringing that up. Because,
the minute Stu went, at the beginning of Highlander, I fucking knew where this was going. I was like, oh God, no. I slipped one sentence out. Now it must have been near a decade ago. And it fucked me up for the next 10 years and some.
Mate,
I went to wrestling school. I'm getting destroyed. One
slip can last a lifetime. We all know that.
Well, yeah, we know that. Yeah, absolutely. You're paying for 18 years, aren't you?
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Oh, Jesus, you paint me out to be a right wanker. I love it.
No, you're not. No, of course not.
But one thing I have kind of skipped over very, very naughtily is when they realise they've cut all of the power and the tower can't talk to anyone whatsoever. So, and in this film, I don't know how much he's paid, but it isn't enough. You've got someone called Barnes, who's played by Art Evans, and he's like the radio guy in the tower. And if it wasn't for him, they'd have no clue how to do anything, take a shit, flush a toilet, anything without this guy. And he works out that the Skywalk Annex they can set a beacon off and they can talk to the planes without anyone knowing, because it just makes a noise, and they can use that noise to talk to the planes without the baddies knowing, or so they think. And it turns out to be a setup. And again, you've got Bruce Willis going through this air duct, proper old school, call back to the original, and you get a really good shootout with Robert Patrick. How good's that? I love this shootout. I think it's really, really good. Again, guys, feedback, go now.
On the spot.
I've had too much sugar tonight.
Clearly. Fucking hell. Well, you'd think they'd be able to win if they've got a T1000 on their side. But...
Too right.
Well, yeah. That was his next film as well, wasn't it? After this.
It was indeed.
It was, yeah.
So, yeah, I thought it was a good film. I like the way it ended. Quite loads of the SWAT got taken out. Bruce Willis kind of saved the day, and the fact that he presses the little travelator thing, whatever you call them now. Not an escalator, is it? What are the flat ones called?
I think they are travelators.
Travelator. Yeah.
Travelator, right. Yeah. Okay, travelator. Yeah, he presses it to get the gun. That was really nice. I like that.
I would have really liked it at the end when because he obviously doesn't switch the travelator off if he just got kicked in the face by the dead body.
Yeah. The dead foot just hits
Oh,
my face.
fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Gorgeous Rev, what do you think, my pedigree chum?
When I first saw it again, I thought, look, it's from Terminator. But I was very young when I first watched it, so I must have watched it after Terminator 2. I watched that, but no, I thought it was a very good scene, probably for the air ducts. And just as soon as you think Barnes is done for, Bruce Willis just comes out with a win, shoots into the grate. I initially thought when he shot a few times, hit the metal grate and just bounced off, but then all of a sudden, oh wait, no, he's been shot, and it went straight through him. I was like, geez, that's quite nasty.
Yeah. I really like it. I think it's really, really good scene. I think it's just a great bit of violence. They need it. And you do get kind of quite a lot of chat before it happens and before it builds up to this. But it turns out that it was just a trick, that Colonel Stewart predicted they'd do this. So they set him up to go there to take them all out because their baddies were waiting there. And they ended up blowing up the Skywalker Annex anyway. So all of those people and the SWAT team died for nothing. But when you think you've got Marvin, who is the Argyle from the first one, who's the limo driver. And when you've got Carmine Lorenzo, who's the Dwayne T. Robinson from the first one, they've really taken the playbook of this, haven't they? Holly's up in the air. She's trying to do everything, rally the troops, just like the first one. I mean, it's really strange how that they stuck to the... I know it's obviously the ingredients for it work so well, because the first one was so fucking brilliant of why they work so well, but it's blatantly from the Die Hard playbook, isn't it? It's mental just how like it is, but in another area. Honestly, when I see this, that's all I think.
Can't disagree with you, mate, to be honest. But if it's not broke, why fix it? Sort of thing, I guess, was what they were
It's
looking
a
at.
tough one, isn't it? Because in the 80s and 90s, sequels were kind of like, let's copy the previous film, but kind of have more of the same, which works some of the time and doesn't. And I think sequels nowadays, sometimes what you're looking for is maybe a different scenario that at least pushes the character forward and lets us know a bit more about the character, which we never got. This was the cliche 80s, 90s sequel, bigger, badder kind of thing. I mean, I really enjoyed the film. I don't think it's bad for that, but yeah, I mean, it does feel very much copy and paste when you're looking at it from like a bird's eye view of like the basic plot structure, you know?
Yeah, definitely. But as you guys say, though, why kind of change it? Because I'm sure if they would have come up with another idea, that people would have turned around. So I would have been one of them, because I'm a trappy fucker anyway, and just said, well, why did they change it? It was so good the first one. You know what I mean? So I did think, they'd come up with such bold ideas, and when they know that plane is going to crash because they've raised like the ground by about 200 meters, and Bruce Willis goes outside in the snow, and the fact that they actually filmed it this time of year because they thought there was going to be snow, and the fact that it did not snow, that a lot of the time the reason why it looks so bad is because they've got it's potato kind of flakes they've got that are flying through the air, which looks so bad because and when they were filming, the lights were so bright, there were so many of them, that Bruce Willis was saying in an interview that the set really smelt of potato because they had so many potato flakes. The imported snow didn't work, so that's why it looks so strange. But that's mental, isn't it?
That is mad. Because I always wondered why the flakes were so big and stuff. So now I know. There we go.
They were going to use Monster Munch, Wotsits, or Skips, but it did not work.
No, it's not going to work as well, is it?
Not really. So I think, as I was saying before, I kind of distracted myself, but it's a really a bizarre idea that Bruce Willis thinks going out to the runway with two metal sticks that are on fire is going to help a plane, a jumbo jet, whatever it is, 747, 37, see him, and that they'll be able to land safely. I mean, it's so Die Hard over the top. It's insane, isn't it? It's ridiculous.
I guess at that point in the character's head, it's very much desperation, isn't it? So anything to get some kind of signal out to the plane. So,
yeah.
We were all did the same if that was the case, I'm sure.
Would
we know you would, Ralph.
No,
because you're a hero.
No, God no, Jesus no. I'll probably light a fire somewhere and then.
That's what Hero says. That is exactly what Hero says.
Exactly.
No,
you're a hero. No, I'm not. I'm not a hero. Yeah, you are.
Paul would grab a helicopter.
Yeah. Paul would bring it down with a helicopter, definitely. Yeah. Though he wouldn't be able to get there in time after all the flight checks.
Rubbing my knee pads.
Talking about flying, mate. I don't know why you're talking about knee pads. That's a different subject.
You have your knee pads on to put your charts in. Yeah.
That's what we call it nowadays.
I love it. But he tries to and fails miserably to stay that plane. I don't know why he does it, because he doesn't know. For all he knows, that's Holly on that plane, and that plane's going to crash. But backup, that is why you have a backup. Exactly. As you said earlier, I think it might have been James, break the glass. You got that bird who works on the counter for the other airlines. You know, always good to have a backup. So, but thankfully it wasn't. It was just an English plane filled with pompous English people that crashed into the ground. And after about 5 minutes in this film, no one gives a shit, you know. It's not even reported on the news, is it? They're still going on about Esperanza landing. So, a plane crashed full of English people. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, it's only the English. Don't worry about it.
Explain where that came from.
And it's brilliant. I love the fact the pilots in that plane again are so over the top English as well, aren't they?
I remember seeing that and thinking, that's Miles O'Brien from Star Trek.
Yeah, I thought
that's all I think. But whenever I see him, it's Miles O'Brien.
Yeah.
Instantly thought of you.
Yeah, there should be a secret Easter egg where he suddenly transports just as the plane is.
We're gonna crash. No, I'm not.
Yeah.
So, what did you guys think about when Esperanza's plane does land? He takes out the guard who's on the plane, all too easy, shoots everyone, and even though his altitude is really high and he's got no oxygen, thankfully he doesn't die. He does manage to land the plane. And you've got Willis there who turns up as he opens the door, proper Willis style, just takes him out, punches him in the face, which is brilliant. And then he hides in the cockpit of the plane. If I'm getting any jargon wrong, Paul, please tell me, because I don't want to offend you. And then you get
textbook so far.
Thank you very much. Feeling the pressure though. And then you get all of Colonel Stewart and all of his goons turn up and shoot the shit out of that cockpit. And then the only way, when they chuck about 20 grenades in there, that he can get out is to press the ejector seat. And I mean, it does make, they showed this in the advert of the trailer when this film was coming out. I remember seeing it, of Willis flying up in the air, and the special effects are just terrible blue screen. Yeah. What did you guys think of that? Did you think, oh, fuck off, or not?
You had to. How long are the fuses on those grenades?
Yeah.
That's what I
It was great to see.
It's 4 seconds. In the old days, the grenade in the World War, they used to be 10, and then they reduced them to 4 seconds hand grenade. Because I looked at that, I thought, fuck off.
Maybe they got them with a discount, like best before grenade from World War.
Or maybe because it was cold.
Yeah, could be because it's cold. They were definitely more than 4 seconds. It was bad, but I think at the time, if you're going to do that, because it's behind a green screen or blue screen, wasn't it? When they filmed it, I don't think it looked. For the time, I don't think it looked that bad. I think it only looks bad now because our expectations are so are completely different. I thought for the time it looked okay, because bear in mind when it came out, there wasn't DVD. Yes, so you imagine watching it in your CRT, your 25 or at most 32-inch CRT at home. I think it would have looked alright. I just only now it just looks so bad because it's an old film. But I think for the time it was really, I think it was really good. I'm just playing devil's advocate. But yeah, now it looks bad, but for the time I thought it looked good. And I remember watching it on TV.
But did you think it was over the top though, Jay? As in, it's just fucking ridiculous that he even knows how to and thinks to use an ejector seat, or were you just like, that's it, this is what Willis does?
Yeah, I thought, well, it's bigger and badder, isn't it? It's like the classic sequel. I mean, I guess the alternative was that the 4 seconds it blows up, but then it goes, let it snow, and credits roll. I mean, that would have been not as satisfying. I thought it was nice. I because I think it's one of the big stunts. I think that everyone remembers from Die Hard, doesn't it? I mean, everyone's going to remember that, rightly or wrongly, either because how bad it is, or yeah. There you go.
32 seconds.
Wow.
It takes. They throw the grenades in, and it's 32 seconds from when they throw them into them exploding. I'm not being funny. You could pick them all back up and throw them back out again.
It's a plot device grenade.
Catch.
Yeah.
I thought they did well actually getting it in the cockpit. To be honest, I would have missed. They did really well getting it through that little window.
Just bounce back by your foot or something. Yeah.
Yeah, one of them missed. But I thought it was great. I thought it was well over the top. And when you think he's jumped off buildings and held onto hose pipes and shot through windows and shit like that, I don't know why the baddies didn't actually follow it up and shoot him whilst he was in the air, because they saw him eject anyway, unless they're kind of really tight and told not to fire too many bullets.
Did they think he was dead? Did they think he was dead in the film?
No.
They didn't, did they? No.
Yeah, so it was a really weird decision that they didn't.
One of them commented. One of them comments saying, "Oh, lucky," or something like that. Just knew that he was alive.
Yeah, because I think it would have been. They picked him up, didn't they? Yeah, because I think it would have been better had he done that. They thought he was dead, and he's got like surprise bitches kind of moment later on, down the road maybe. Yeah, absolutely. Hello. Yeah. What was it when Obi-Wan jumps down in third in the Star Wars? Hello there. Yeah. You know the one with General Grievous. I love that. Yeah. I love that moment. That's so funny for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
Terrible. Like the rest of the film.
It is. Oh yeah.
It's so good. And then you get the introduction. They call in the army, and the army conveniently are there within about 10 seconds. And I really like John Amos, who plays Major Grant, who plays the dad. I think he's the dad in Coming to America. And that's all I could picture him of being in Coming to America. It's just so good.
Legend has it, if you zoom in on his bag, there's a McDowell burger in there somewhere. McDowell's or whatever, was it? McDowell's?
Yeah, McDowell's, yeah.
Yeah, that's the one, yeah.
That's so good. I'd love that to be true. You know what I mean? That would be amazing. At the airport, they have a McDowell's or something like that. I think that would be so great.
That'd have been brilliant, wouldn't it? That'd have been brilliant.
But I really like him. And when I first watched this, I was fooled. I was genuinely fooled into thinking that he's going to be on Bruce Willis's John McClane's side. And for once, it's not going to be Willis doing everything. And I thought it was really, really good. And again, there's, apart from the clips, when they show a blue clip and a red clip and all of the soldiers change them, there's no hint, is there? And I think it's a really good kind of twist in this film.
I think definitely it was a very well, as you said, very well put together twist. And you do believe him to be quite a genuine character. All of a sudden he's a hard ass, and then he hates McClane, and all of a sudden starts getting along with him. So the casting was perfect. You can just see him doing that, and then all of a sudden you see this character, his personas. I'm a badass. You will listen to me, and all of a sudden you start warming towards McClane, and then that plot twist right at the end is like, oh damn, I thought you were a good guy. You betrayed us all. No.
I'm going to watch your film with you next. I can't wait. If
Yeah.
I get a commentary like this,
Yeah.
we've got to go and see a film together, man.
Definitely. I could just see you sitting there going, no.
Oh, that'd be
I mean, he's
fucking
standing
awesome.
corner lamenting. He's like, "No, you were such a great guy. I can't believe you did that to him."
But we do learn that something is strange because, again, it's Barnes who finds this church. No one else does. He's found the tower they can try and talk that got blown up, the sky volcanics, and he's found the church. No one else found that. And they go and have a shoot up. And again, they change to like blue magazines, and then Colonel Stewart changes to blue magazines as well. And it's strange because everyone's shooting at each other. And usually in Die Hard films, people just get fucking shot to bits, and they love showing it. And in this, no one does, and it's really bizarre. But you don't question it. But well, I certainly didn't anyway. And then it leads to a really good. Are they skidoos? They're called.
They are.
Yeah, a really good chase. And as you said, Jay, earlier, it's proper James Bond, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Roger Moore era James Bond. That was, I felt.
Yeah, I loved it. And the fact they go across the lake and the lake is breaking as they're going across it. And I did feel sorry for when Willis has got obviously his own pistol on him, and one of the baddies kind of falls off and his mate waits for him and he gets
Conveniently.
shot by Willis.
Yeah.
I'll wait for you.
Quite unfortunate.
Oh, shit.
But it leads to a really good chase. And again, that he can't understand when he's kind of going head to head with one of them, that you even hear him say it, that I had him in my sights. And Willis is getting shot to bits and he doesn't kill the guy. And that's when he realizes, but you still don't, if you're not paying attention, you should realize that everything he was doing, he was like I have been for a long time, he's firing blanks.
I knew you were going to do that. I'm waiting for it. I was like,
Fucking train
here it
wreck.
comes.
You like the end scene in oh, what's that?
Hang on.
What's that?
What one, Paul? What are you
No,
talking? Where are
I-
you going to go with this?
No, I've just gone a bit VA. No, it's like Silver Streak. You like the last scene in Silver Streak with that train coming crashing through the platform.
I'm a train crash. That is so nice. Lovely analogy there, mate. Cheers. Really, really appreciate that.
That's right.
But Thornberg starts broadcasting from the plane that, and again, as we've spoken about earlier, rightly so, that it's a massive cover-up and there are terrorists there because his colleague picks up on the beacon and hears what Colonel Stewart's saying. And I do feel it's a good scene and it's weird when you've got Grant on the way back with the other troops, and you've got that young lad who they've pointed out numerous times. And he was like, "Oh, it's great serving with you." And he goes, "Yeah, this is why it makes it so hard." And they're all in the back of the truck together. And he pulls out a knife and he just cuts, Major Grant does, just cuts his young lad's throat. I mean, he could have given him the option of, "Are you available that I can buy your friendship and any guilt and conscience you've got?" Instead, he cuts his throat. But I think it's a really effective scene, isn't it?
I was lamenting at that point. No. No. This, I think it kind of shows the character turn all of a sudden, and you're not prepared for it, and then all of a sudden you see this happening. It's like, oh shit, this just got more serious.
Yeah, I think it was really, really necessary. I mean, James, for a man who's spent many years in the ring wrestling, did you think this was too violent?
I thought I was going to say something else there.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. It's not a podcast that doesn't come out once at a time. Something about wrestling, ring, naked men, touching. Yeah, no. Like Ralph said, it was like kind of just out there, wasn't it? It was really sudden, unexpected. Yeah, I mean, Rav put it a lot better and more eloquent than I can. So yeah, sorry.
No. I just wondered, and the fact that whilst Thornberg is broadcasting, he gets tasered by Holly McLean. I thought, for me, it was they had to do something to shut him up. They obviously had to, and it's a trope in the first one. He got punched out, And did they really need to kind of taser him, or because Holly's doing nothing, and it's a shame for me that she's left up in the air again, having a bit part in this film, and all she's given is her moment is to taser Thornberg. I thought it was a bit weak, to be honest. I mean, I put it on the floor. What do you guys think about it?
I loved it.
I think I liked it, but I thought it was a tick in the box for the Die Hard template.
Yeah.
That's a good way of putting it. I liked it because I fucking hate Thornberg.
Yeah.
He's such a tool.
Yeah, that's for dissing Venkman.
Yeah, isn't it? Yeah, no one disses Venkman. Shocking.
Jay, what did you think, mate?
I thought it was right. I did slightly fantasize about
Oh God.
Leslie Nielsen coming on and slapping a few people on the plane.
Okay.
Yeah, but I don't know. Yeah, I thought it was right. As Paul said, it's part of the Die Hard template, isn't it? It would have been nice, and I know what you're saying, Stu, if she did the equivalent of rallying the troops, getting and trying to find out what was going on, and maybe worked out, and she was the one that maybe worked out about the weird beeping. For the on the radar and getting the transmission, they could have given her a lot more to do. And yeah, she ended up just being almost like a damsel in distress, really, because you take her away from the film, other than the pure fact that it's his wife up there. She doesn't add anything really to the film. I know that sounds really horrible, but she doesn't really in what she does, other than someone to be saved. She doesn't really move the plot along at all, does she? Like in the first film.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah. It would have made no difference whether it's Holly McClane up there or whether it's Sergeant Al Powell coming in to see him, spending Christmas with him. You know what I mean? It's not a case of, and if the plane would have crashed, you really wouldn't have given a shit. You know what I mean? It wouldn't have affected the outcome of the film. I don't think. I wouldn't have thought, oh, it would have been much better if she would have lived, because you don't invest anything in her, so it just doesn't make a difference. You know what I mean? Obviously he does, which is why the plot is driven so much. But I just wanted her to have more, to have a moment, rather than her moment be, I know you love it, Neil, but tasering Thornberg, you know, it just seems a bit strange. But they do rescue General Esperanza, and they do meet at the airport. One of his demands is to have a massive plane waiting, and they kind of get up on this plane, and the plane's going to take off, and the only thing that they can do is, the police officers are so terrible, and when they jump in the car and drive about 6 foot and crash into this taxi, it's just like, oh my God, this is terrible. It's meant to be a moment of drama. It's like, oh my God, they're never going to make it because he's crashed. It's so weak, that part of, it's just pointless. It doesn't add any drama, does it, or any tension? The fact that he's with that Carmine and he crashes the car, it's just shit. It doesn't get going until we meet Sam Coleman and grabs the helicopter. Thankfully, she's got a helicopter, and they chase after the aeroplane. I mean, Paul, can you do this? Not you yourself, I know you can, but is this something that can be done?
Yeah, you can. And it was done, wasn't it? That was a helicopter and an aircraft. I don't know what speed they were travelling at, but yeah, you can match, as long as it's not going above and beyond the helicopter's limits. But yeah, they can do that.
You've heard it here, folks. You've heard it here. It is Paul, helicopter pilot, model, lover.
Is that the first time? Is that the first time Paul's been happy with a helicopter in a film?
I think it is.
Yeah. No, second time. The Matrix was my first one. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I didn't think you was happy because they didn't do some kind of drill or something in that.
Oh, the cockpit drill, not the cockpit drill. The yeah. No, you're right. You're right, Stu. They didn't. They literally.
So this is the first time that you'd have no complaint.
Yeah, but then again, they got that helicopter up, so probably would have taken them a few minutes to get it up, make sure everything was fine. Well, the T's and P's were in the green.
That happens, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's not the first time.
Sometimes it takes a few minutes.
Exactly. Oh my God, it's turning into a carry-on film. It really is.
Oh.
I have to say, it did start with Rav showing his badge to get in the back door. So
exactly, the store Rav's fault.
Exactly.
On the whole, that bit was good.
Yeah. It felt good, didn't it?
Lord.
Yeah.
But it's really good because he does chase them down, and the pilot is not willing to kind of do the tropey thing, which has been done in loads of films. And I take it he wanted him to go down on the wing and stop the, I hate to say this word, the flaps from going up so the plane could take off. So he jumps on the wing, and I don't really, obviously, unsurprisingly, know much about the aviation, but why didn't? Because you get Grant going out there to fight him, overwatched by Colonel Stewart. Why didn't they both go out there and just take him out rather than do like a wrestling James tag team and just watch one after the other?
But that's what they do in movies, doesn't it? One goes, yeah. No matter what genre you're looking at, it's always one after the other that goes in.
We say this all the
Kill
time,
Bill?
don't we?
Yeah.
Is this the
Same
fight
with
that
Kill
happens
Bill.
on the plane?
Yes, on the wing.
Right, the reason why is because the Colonel Esperanza says no shooting, no firing on the plane. He has a gun. I appreciate he could help out. The only reason why he's not doing it, I think, because, I don't know, he's worried about falling off. The shooting things explained. He can't shoot at the wing because he's going to damage the plane. That helps.
But yeah, it's it does, but it doesn't at the same time, doesn't it? Because you're right. Why wouldn't you both just
You
go
would,
for them
wouldn't
at
you?
the same time
You
rather
would.
than one after the other? But like Paul's just said, we've said it in Lethal Weapon and all sorts, haven't you? It's like my turn now, it's your turn, and it's. But there again, that's the excitement build up and everything else, isn't it? So, but it doesn't make sense.
And it's a really good fight between Willis and Major Grant. Really, really good fight. I love it. I think they both handle themselves really, really well, and it's brilliant the way that Grant gets sucked into the engine. It just is completely rank. And when you think, like, when you watch that Sully, a seagull flying in can take a plane down. The fact that Grant gets sucked into the engine and it can still just completely fly. I mean, would it do that, or would it just smash the whole thing to bits?
It would have mullered the engine, wouldn't it? Yeah, it would have mullered it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I don't care how strong those propellers are. It's not going to go through a human bone, is it?
Yeah. They'd have had flame out.
Oh, I love it when you use jargon like that. It's unbelievable. And this is the free podcast as well, and you're hearing words like flame out.
I am aroused.
And you get Colonel Stewart go out there. When do you think we saw him do the Kalanetics at the start of it, naked with a bit of sack? Is it sack or was it trunk that we saw? I
think it was both.
It was definitely both. Maybe.
I don't know. Can you see both? You must have. Depends. You get to a certain age where you have long balls, so you must be quite well endowed to have kind of sack and trunk as well. I mean, James,
depends on the
man who
angle.
wore leotard a hell of a lot due to your sports. Where do you stand on this?
The plane thing. Oh well, it wasn't going to happen, was it? But it was a nice shot, a nice way to go, really, wasn't it? You're going to remember it. And bear in mind, I think this film, when it came out in the UK, it wasn't 18. I think when it came out on video, anyway.
Yes.
And it was.
Yeah, they were.
Weren't they? It's, from what I remember, it's a lot more violent visually than the first film. Albeit the first film was still quite violent, I think, for its time.
Yeah, I think it's, for me, it's kind of on par. I mean, I like this fight in the fact that Bruce Willis gets kicked off and he would lose. He would not beat Colonel Stewart. There's no way. It would have been ridiculous if he'd have beat him. It's laughable that he's got the savvy to know how to take. I mean, I can rarely take the petrol cap off a car. If I get a new car, it takes me a while to work out how I do it. The fact he can actually do it on an aeroplane.
Or even which side.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
yeah, which side? The fact he can do it on a plane is.
Accident, though, doesn't he? It's shot.
Does he do it?
He sees it? Yeah, I think he sees it. It's almost by accident. As he's hanging off, he's like, "Oh my god, what's that?" It's almost as if he sees it by accident, and it's kind of like a last-ditch attempt. Yes, it is. I don't know how he knows how to undo it, but imagine. But I think him seeing it was a complete accident and realizing it was there. For me, that's what I thought when I was watching it.
Yeah, agree.
I'd go with that. That's absolutely fine. And it's great that he loses for once. And again, I don't know how true this is. Probably complete bollocks. But the way he sets fire to it, and I do like the fact that it chases it down the runway, and the effects even back then bear in mind this is 1990, of the flames going through the air and catching the plane and exploding. I think it's a really, really punchy, kind of effective ending. I think it's great that all of the baddies die in such a horrid way.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Do you think it would chase the plane like that, the flame? Do you think it would do?
Don't know.
I don't know. It's kerosene, though, isn't it? It's combustible, not flammable.
Oh my God! Again, I'd like to remind everyone this is a free podcast, and you're getting facts.
You love it. Yeah, this is better than Wikipedia.
Yeah, the education from this pod alone is worth a subscription fee.
It's amazing, but it's really good. I love the reaction as well when he's just laying on the potato peelings on the floor, just laughing, and he's calling out Holly's name because he knows he saved her. But this kind of the whole line when the flame chases the aeroplane, it's really funny that all the planes suddenly use it as a beacon to land. Surely the first plane would then put out these flames, and all of the other ones would just fucking crash.
That's a good point.
Again, that'd have been horrendous, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
The white
we're
plane
safe.
gets down,
We're fucked
and
everybody else.
yeah. Well, as the credits roll, all the other planes you see crashing in the background. Flames out. Just walking away. That'd be terrible, wouldn't it?
The next day, there's a massive pile of planes where they didn't make it.
That's a good point, actually, saying that. The entire runway was covered in snow, so how the hell do they know how far the runway is? Because obviously, when that plane takes off, the bad guy's plane, it blows up. It obviously doesn't hit the end of the runway. So probably 3/4 down the runway. And I'm sure there's going to be something at the end of that, because after the first plane, that didn't
They could have stuffed into it.
Yeah.
It's so funny, isn't it? It really, really is. And you get some brilliant one-liners from the tower manager, Thompson.
So
man, it's so tropey, but it's proper manly quotes.
They can all see it. Yeah.
Oh,
I
loved it.
See it. And
My
that
beard
knowing
was growing.
smile.
Oh, it's so horny and lovely.
Get off my screen.
I've always wanted to. When the plane lands, you get that kind of inflatable slide that goes down. Obviously, I wouldn't want to be in a situation where I'd need to slide down one, but they always look like so much fun, don't they?
Yeah, I'm sure everyone that's used them think that's
Yeah.
the same thing.
Obviously, I mean, being in a situation where you needed one is bad, but they look like good fun to slide down.
That was a
That's
real
true.
awkward scene, actually, wasn't it? Because you got Holly's at the front, and you got all these extras sort of like looking into the distance behind her. That's not real, is it? Everyone would be going, "Get the fuck off the plane!"
Yeah, I thought that.
Get
She
off.
takes ages to go down there. You'd push her by accident, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Or accidentally on purpose. Whoops, sorry, love.
And then all the firemen come in, and I don't know whether they're real firemen or extras, right? But you could see them, and you're desperately trying not to look at the camera crew. They're like, "Oops, I've just looked."
I love looking at the extras to see their
I do.
expressions.
I love it. Yeah, it
They're
can
so
ruin a
good.
film, but it's always good. Like the extras in Highlander, when they're when they're baying for blood, when they're trying to get him. He's got the almost like the bar across his back, hasn't he?
Yes.
And the extras are trying to kill him, want to kill him, and just watching them, it's just so cringy and awkward.
Yeah, it's brilliant. And I thought it was a lovely touch that Coleman, the reporter, videos Willis and his missus cuddling, and then kind of covers the camera up so they can have their moment, going against the stereotype of what Thornberg is, of kind of being really intrusive reporting, and they have the moment, and that's it. I mean, the film kind of pans away, and then you get the traditional Christmas music that the first film ended in, which I really like. I think it's a really nice touch. I think it's nice. It's such a cool little song, that is.
Yeah. He got his parking ticket ripped up as well. So,
that bit was nonsensely bollocks,
wasn't it?
Yeah.
Awful.
Merry Christmas.
Did you get this outside my airport?
I know, freaking discount Danny DeVito.
It is.
Yeah, it is.
Well fucking said, James. Well,
thank you.
That's true. Yeah.
It was awful, wasn't it? It's like,
But I mean, is Die Hard 2 a Christmas film?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, and it annoys me when people argue about that and Die Hard 1, because I've turned to them and go, okay, you're telling me Die Hard is not a Christmas film, then nor is Home Alone, because that has nothing to do with Christmas, really, maybe towards the end, other than the fact it's set at the same time. So if you're using that argument, you can use it for Home Alone. That's right.
I think
That's
they are
right, Tiffany.
two classic. Christmas isn't Christmas
Absolutely.
without these two films on the telly.
Definitely.
Indeed.
Yeah, the cinema show them every year, don't they? I mean, the Odeon's showing Die Hard at the moment. So, yeah, I think it's really, really good. But so Die Hard 2, I mean, it'd be interesting to hear. I pretty much know where everyone's going to go. But Rav, what's your best bits, worst bits, and would you recommend? Would it be a strong recommend or a weak recommend? And how'd you score it, mate?
I definitely recommend it. It's part of the series. First one was a great movie. Second one followed up, albeit like everyone has said, in the same format. But I think the whole planning of this entire, well, let's face it, is a heist, isn't it? The entire planning of this heist by Colonel Stewart was really well thought out, and he took into consideration all the potential contingencies that would happen. So for that reason, I really like it because it makes you think, and then you wouldn't realize that all of a sudden Major Grant is the bad guy, and that plot twist was really well done. It was hidden away, and then all of a sudden hits you quite hard. I would definitely recommend it. I would definitely probably give 4 out of 5.
Ooh. 80s Paul.
Definitely recommend it. Definitely recommend it. The worst bits for me is when, and it's the same in every film that Bruce Willis is in this franchise, and that's when he's on his own, he's frustrated, and he starts talking to himself, like when he's down he's trying to get into the air duct. And he's like, "Where's my Christmas tree?" And like baubles, and yeah, it's just I don't know what it is. It's just his little monologue to himself, just winding up, right? Yeah, it's a bit cliche. So
You went into Popeye then.
really, I'll have to listen to that back because I didn't notice it.
Fantastic.
Right, best bits is any action sequence with him in it, like any of the fight scenes, the shoot 'em ups. Probably the best action scene in that, going back to the beginning, there would be in the luggage area.
Yeah.
As we said, for the choreography and it's just a great piece, well filmed, and yeah, 4 out of 5.
Oh, it's good. That is good. Jay, what about yourself, mate?
Probably 3.5 to 4 out of 5, depending almost on my mood. I really liked it. It's the way I don't consider Die Hard 4 and 5. For me, they're not really Die Hard films. I know they are. But I think it's the weaker one of the good trilogy, let's say, between 1 to 3. But I still really enjoy it. And it's one of those films that you can watch once a year anyway. But yeah, it is a shadow of the first one, but not, I think, as much as I probably thought it would be before doing this podcast. Best bit, all the action scenes. My favourite's the luggage bit, because I felt at the time that was really, really unique. It was shot really well. Yeah, and not often do you have someone use a golf club.
Yeah. So you don't think being the template of the first one was to its kind of detriment then?
It probably was, looking at it now, but I think at the time, when I was a kid, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it just as much. It was just looking at it critically, I do think, which is why I was going for like the 3.5 rather than maybe a full. I mean, Die Hard for me is a 5 straight away, isn't it? Yeah. So, and I do think this is not as good as Die Hard, the third one, because the third one does completely change it up, doesn't it? So.
Yeah, I'd love to be able to do the third one whilst it's available at some point. Neil, OP, go for it.
Yeah, definitely recommend it. I'd give it 4 out of 5. I think it's on a close par with the first Die Hard film. It is a carbon copy, pretty much, but I don't care because the first one was so good, and this one has followed suit. It's got its tropey characters in it, and I guess that's the bit I don't particularly enjoy. So, Carmine and his brother are just fucking idiots in this, and they really annoy me. It's just that real trope. I've got a bigger dick than you, when he clearly has got a fucking butter mushroom down there. So, and he's compensating for something. But no, the action scenes are brilliant. The special effects, yes, they're dated, but it's still fantastic. And it is a Christmas film, and it's, if you're going to watch a Christmas film, I'd say this or Die Hard 2. Die Hard are the one you need to watch. So yeah, that's what I think.
Oh, fair play. Yeah. I got to admit, I just echo what you guys say. I think it's a really good film when it's on. I'll always watch it. I really love the Die Hard format. It was exactly the same as the first one, not to its detriment. I'd give it a 4 out of 5, and I'd recommend it. I think the fact that it's dated, you just got to take that part and parcel of. In these days, you could make these films and you could get away with the things they got away with, such as blowing the plane up. And I love seeing the fact that you could smoke in the airport, the good old days, and do the things that you could do back then when it wasn't so PC. I think it just works for it. So yeah, completely recommend this film. I love it. Worst bits, a bit picky. I think some of it's dated. That's the only downside of things. But it doesn't affect the film. It's a really great fun film. You know what you're getting with a Die Hard film. I think if you go into these films,
There's those noises.
yeah, then thank you very much. Knowing if you go into these films thinking it's going to be something like Empire of the Sun or something really dramatic that you're going to get something and take something away from, then you're a complete bellend because it really, really isn't.
Yeah.
So,
Stu, do you think does it matter that it's dated? I think it still brings a lot to it. That it's, and for people of our age as well. I think you go back any reference fax machines and kind of stuff like that, and the time when you could smoke and do all sorts
I love
of
it.
stuff.
Yeah, I think it's
So
great.
it brings back memories, and oh yeah, the days of smoking in the airport. It brings back memories, and reminiscing and stuff, isn't it? So
Yeah.
I think you can't take anything away from it just because it's dated.
No, I said I dated, but I like the fact that you can see that, and I like that fact. It's not bad. But yeah, so that's Die Hard 2. As I say, we have to have a chat, kind of off pod, about our next one to see if we're going to do Die Hard, the third one, or what direction we're going to go in. But we've got Hawkeye at the weekend. We've got episode 5 called Ronin, which I haven't watched yet, and I'm going to go and see Spider-Man tomorrow night. I've got my tickets all booked up.
Oh.
Yeah, can't wait. I thought I'd get a ticket early before everything gets shut down into lockdown and I can't see it. So I'm really looking forward to it. I don't know. Do you guys interested in what this is going to be like? Do you think it's going to be a letdown or not? You got a buzz about it?
Not massively, mate. To be honest, I think Spider-Man's sort of my least favourite of the franchise thus far. But
Really?
I will watch it. I will watch it, but I'm not rushing out to go and see it. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. What about you, Jay?
I'm watching it with I think I'm going to even bring my 5-year-old along to it because he saw the trailer and he loves Spider-Man. He loves Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
And he really enjoyed Far From Home, which we watched.
Yeah.
Which we went to. Yeah. So I'm going to do it. He's really excited about it. Me too. And it'll be the first probably non-cartoon film we've gone with him.
Oh, fantastic! That's brilliant.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, so we're all watching it. If I can, I want to watch it on the 23rd. I mean, my cinema around the corner for me. I don't know about you. It's literally £5 a ticket, so it's really good.
No way.
Is it one of these everyman's, James?
No, it's a View. It's a View.
Oh right.
Yeah, they are doing the cheap tickets now, aren't they?
Yeah, because it's like in Torbay, where it's just like the local big cinema, and they don't have any fancy screens. They don't have like an IMAX stuff. They're just bogs down the cinema, but they don't have any VIP seats. I think that's why they put it just £5 a ticket. So for all 4 of us to go, it's 20 quid.
That's great.
That, can you?
Well,
Yeah.
I'm gonna complain about them because I took my boy to watch Boss Baby 2, and it cost me £12.50 for the tickets for the both of us to go. Any guess on how much it cost for 2 popcorns and 2 waters?
Probably
shitloads.
Yeah.
12
17
Oh
pounds
my god!
for 2
really?
medium popcorns and 2 fucking waters.
Wow.
Yet the tickets to see the film were only £12.50 for
Don't
both
you guys
of us.
bring your stuff? Don't you guys try and hide and bring your own? I mean,
Yeah, I
you
do
go
bring my
loads.
own stuff in
You
with
just bring
me.
your own
Yeah.
shit in.
Yeah.
The thing is, I
Film,
don't
yeah.
go very often. I just wanted to give my boy the full experience, and I felt like I was being raped for some fucking popped corn. It was.
I know.
I go to
I was
Woolworths first.
furious. Yeah,
I remember
mate,
that.
I will
Think of
go
it.
for a will.
Get a big mix.
Honestly,
Yeah,
I absolutely will call them out on how disgusting they are pricing their snacks at.
You want to get on a
Absolutely.
Watchdog, mate. Get on a BBC Watchdog.
Well, they're not going to listen to me, are they?
I don't know.
But-
They might do.
Mate, just bring your own stuff in. Just get like a
No, I
little
will.
man bag and bring your own stuff
I will
in.
now. I just
Yeah.
wanted to warn the public.
Make a false belly under your
Disgrace.
jacket.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So what cinema
rant
was that
over.
then?
That was The View.
Wow.
What one though?
Mm.
What
No,
one?
was it Cineworld? Sorry, Cineworld it was.
Cineworld.
I take it back.
Cineworld.
It wasn't The View. It was Cineworld. And yeah, I was thoroughly annoyed.
Don't blame you,
About
mate. That's
that.
ridiculous. That's
Yeah.
ridiculous. What about you, Rav? Are you looking forward to this, mate?
I am. I'm intrigued as to how and if. So I've tried to avoid all kinds of spoilers to see if the Sam Raimi Spider-Man and the Andrew Garfield, his character, I can't remember the director for that one though, but Andrew
Yeah.
Garfield's Spider-Man to be in the actual movie because it has been teased, and
Yeah.
I'm intrigued as to how they're going to put everything together. Plus, that being said, Marvel movies have started to get a bit stale, and this whole new injection of characters from the Disney Plus / Netflix, like for example Daredevil and Punisher being introduced into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I'm intrigued as how they're going to do that via the whole, the multi dimensions and all that stuff.
Yeah, I can't wait. I have to say, what I'm looking forward to is, me and Samuel watch. Oh God, do you know? I was about to say the wrong fucking character. I was about to say we watch Doctor No all the time. But funny enough, we don't. But we watch more of the old Marvel, and I like the fact that it's from like the original, so to speak, kind of like MCU. And I love the Doctor Strange films. I think they're so good. The more I watch them, the more I enjoy them. So I've kind of struggled with a lot of the new stuff that they brought out, especially like the TV programs. And I want to call back to the old MCU. So I'm looking forward to Strange and Spider-Man teaming up. And as you said, Rav, the old characters as well, with like Doc Ock and everyone like that. It's going to be so good. I'm really excited. I'm trying not to get too excited, so I'm disappointed, but it's going to be awesome. I think it's going to be really
I think
good.
it'll be the best Marvel film since Endgame.
Do you think so?
Yeah, easy. I think. I reckon it is. I'm hoping it is. I think. I'll be disappointed if it's not.
Mind you, there's not much competition, is there? Black Widow was
yes.
dog shit, and the Eternals, I didn't like the Eternals. I struggled. I've seen it twice for my sins, but I really did struggle with that.
I enjoyed Shang-Chi. I thought that was okay. It's not going to win any awards, but I enjoyed it.
No.
I think in the same respect that Sony and Marvel are both putting a lot of money into it, so it has to be some kind of profit for them.
Oh, definitely.
Because they can't. Sony can't afford to lose a license. Marvel can't afford to have a bad movie on their. Well, that being said, Black Widow, but they can't afford, and Shang-Chi, but they can't afford to have another failure. And that being said, Spider-Man is one of their biggest selling superheroes.
Well, I think after Endgame now, it's the only big film I think they've really got that's going to have mainstream interest, because I don't want to say clutching at straws when it comes to some of the other heroes they've done now, but your Iron Man, your Captain America, they're gone.
Yeah.
You know, Guardians of the Galaxy haven't been around for a while, albeit there's a film coming out, isn't there, with them in? Thor hasn't been around for a while. So when you look at your main people, that's it really, isn't it? When you look at them, the big heroes.
Yeah, it's a real shame. Yeah, but that's why I'm hoping this works so well, because I'll be gutted if this doesn't. I feel like I'll be left with nothing in this universe until Guardians comes out, hoping that's going to be good as well. So
I hope so.
But yeah,
did you watch The Matrix before we go?
Yeah, can't wait to watch it. I really cannot wait. I'm well excited. I know it's mixed reviews from you guys, isn't it?
I watched the trailer the other day. I watched the trailer and oh my god.
I'm excited, but intrigued what they're going to do with it, kind of way. If that makes any sense, where they're going to go with it.
Yeah. I'm going to watch it for the franchise, but I have this horrible feeling I'm going to be really annoyed and disappointed with what they've done.
I've got an idea of what they've done watching the most recent trailer, and I may have had to hold back from sick if it was what I thought. But we'll have to see.
Yeah. Well, we should do just a quick review after we've watched it then.
We are. Yeah, absolutely. If I don't like it, can we call the podcast Wank Tricks?
Yeah, be a pleasure.
Yeah, good. Because I'm going to be so angry. I'm going to be so angry if it's really shit.
Yeah, when's that out? Is that the 22nd of
So
Yeah.
I mean, I tell you what, if we could aim to do that, maybe for the first or second podcast of the year,
Yeah.
maybe
If I
in
can
January.
remember it by then, yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
But yeah, definitely. We'll do a very quick review. It can just be a chat about the whole film and how disappointed we are, probably. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Sweet.
definitely. So that's it. That is Die Hard 2. As I say, we've got another podcast on Saturday. We're doing for episode 5 of Hawkeye. I don't know what we're going to do next week, but something will happen. It probably actually won't, because it'll be Christmas next week, isn't it?
I think so.
Wednesday's 23rd. So yeah, maybe.
All right. Yeah, then it may be, maybe not. I don't know. But usually we always go on a drunken rampage, and we can't talk until about the 3rd of
Well,
January. So
anyone that's seen Spider-Man, maybe we could do like a quick half hour.
yeah, I'm seeing it tomorrow, so I'm more than happy to get the pod together and we can have a chat about that as well. So definitely. So there'll be something for someone in the world, no doubt. But that is it from all of us. Anyone got anything to add as usual before we go?
No.
Oh, bless. It's been brilliant having everyone on the pod again. It's so good to have all the voices, all the opinions, and just mates back on the podcast. So thanks everyone for coming on. Absolutely brilliant. So we'll be back very soon with something else, talking shit, no doubt. Take care, guys. All the best, and we'll see you soon.